Just so you know, you can always ask for money from me. You're just 17, and I'd rather you focus on your studies than spend hours doing part-time jobs. And please come back home tonight. Pick up my calls too. I'm dead worried about you, boy. I told you, Raymie, I'm not doing it just for the money. Everyone my age is doing something for themselves. I want to experience that too. I'm not stopping you from that. You are free to experience life. But to exhaust yourself like this, what is the point of that? Spending most of the time studying and working and not getting proper rest, this is nothing but self-destructive. I am worried about you, Jake. I'm really worried about you. I just need some distraction. Please, leave me alone. Jake, I know what's on your mind. Please talk to me about it. What is there to talk about? 12 years. I spent 12 years deluding myself. I thought she left me with you because of her financial issues, but the truth is that she never wanted me to begin with, that she doesn't want me in her life, ever. And the worst part is that you hid the truth from me, Raymie. Jake, please, this is more complicated than you think. Then why did you never tell me? Do you have any idea how betrayed I feel right now? I'm sorry, but back then, Luna asked me to keep this a secret from you. She left you with me saying she would look for a new job, so I thought it would be best for you. But when I found out she started a completely different life away from you, I was so pissed. I called her up to ask her why she was not coming back for you. And she told me that she had now started seeing someone, and because you were an illegitimate child, they would never accept her in their family. I knew she was lying, and it was just her running away from her responsibilities as your mother. I couldn't drag you into that mess. You were a child who already had a lot on his mind. Telling you that your disgusting mother abandoned you would have left you broken. After some legal paperwork, I lost all contact with her. To be precise, she stopped calling, and I thought it was for the best. Since then, I have done everything possible to give you a good life. I moved to Seattle, and I was so happy to see you grow happy and healthy. But I knew the sorrow of that brewed inside you. Luna is your mother, and I knew I could never replace her. Though I always prayed that you never cross paths with her. But when you told me you met her and how she rejected you to her face, I saw my worst fears come true. I'm so sorry, Jake, really, but I never took you away from your mother, and I'm sorry if I ever wronged you. I know you're hurt, but please, don't isolate yourself like this. I am here for you. I will always be here for you. It's not your fault, Raymie. I am too disturbed even to think clearly. I don't know what I did wrong. When she left me with you, I politely agreed. I never questioned her intentions. When her calls stopped coming, I accepted that too, hoping she would one day come back for me. But to hear that she never wanted me and that I made her go through hell, I never expected to hear that from her. I never asked her to bring me into this world. She could have killed me before I was even born. Then why is she making me regret the life that I'm living now? I just wanted to have a cup of coffee with her, Raymie. I just wanted to talk. I know, honey, it's not your fault. It was never your fault. Just come back home, okay? Let's talk about this properly. Could you tell me everything? Vent, cry, and yell, but don't block your feelings. I promise I'll listen. I'll be back by 7. Is that okay? Okay, and let's order pizza for tonight. Thanks, Raymie. And I'm sorry for being such a jerk. I shouldn't have said those things to you. It's okay. It happens. I'll see you soon then, okay? Yeah, see you. My mother, Luna, got pregnant when she was in high school. I don't know the full details, but the boy she was with dumped her after finding this out. Even her parents disowned her, and she was left all alone in this world. She ran away from her hometown with little money, and Raymie was the one who helped her. She had just turned 21 when they met, as she was volunteering for an NGO that generally helped girls who were going through teenage pregnancy or were single mothers. She helped my mother get a decent job and a place to stay after listening to her story. I was born soon after, and my mom and Raymie became good friends. During the first 2 years, Raymie was my babysitter who financially aided my mom. But after getting a job in a marketing company, She couldn't spend much time. My mother, who generally didn't have much time for me, only got more annoyed. Back then, she'd spend most of her money on dates instead of saving them. I was way too young to understand that, but there were a few arguments I overheard between Raymie and her about money and how she should start saving it. But my mom never listened. Aside from being an absent mother to me, her relationship with Raymie got bitter. I was a liability to her, and even though I tried my best to behave at that age, she just did not prefer to be around me. As I grew up, I spent most of the time with Raymie rather than my mother, and even though I felt lonely, I tried my best to be an understanding kid. When I turned 4, I found out my mom lost her job. To keep our lives on track, she started doing other small part-time jobs, but the money she made wasn't enough for her to enjoy the little luxuries. Moreover, I started attending school at that age, which was another baggage for her. She ignored me most of the time, and sometimes even yelled at me for being around. I hoped that things would work out soon. Though a year later, she gave up on me. She left me at Raymie's place and didn't return for 2 months. I never asked anything but to console me. Raymie said she had gone for a new job and would come back soon for me, but when she came back, I was told she had left me. For the next few years, she used to call me once or twice in 6 months, but the way she always sounded uninterested gave me a clear idea that she was never coming back. Since then, Raymie has raised me. She became my legal guardian and we left for Seattle. The love and care she gave me for those years are incomparable. In fact, she has been more of a mother to me than the woman who abandoned me, but the child in me still searched for her. 3 days ago while working, I saw my mom with a man and a kid coming out of a fancy car. The rational part of me decided to look away, but the kid in me wanted to go after her. The kid won that time, and I foolishly followed her to the nearby mall. The moment I found her alone away from the other two, I decided to talk to her. She didn't even recognize me at first, but her reaction when I told her my name left me shattered. She looked shocked, and then it turned into a scowl, as if she was disgusted by my presence. "What do you want now?" she brisked. "Can we, talk? If you're free, that is." I kept fidgeting my fingers while her expression remained intact, and then, with gritted teeth and a hateful gaze, she replied, "You made my life a living hell. Not for once was I happy when you came into my life. Every time I look at you, it reminded me of that asshole who made me so miserable. I'm in a better place now, so please, get the fuck out of my life. You are dead to me." Without a word, she walked away from me. But what killed me more was when I heard the kid call out, "Mom, we're getting ice cream now," while I stood there like a dumbass. The man was there too, holding that boy's hand. That was when the truth hit me like a truck, and tears welled up in my eyes. But I held myself back and silently just watched them leave. She did not look back, and instead just lovingly patted the boy's head before giving him a heartfelt smile. The 3 looked like a happy family, and I was not welcome there. When I came back home, I asked Raymie about this new family my mom had now. She knew all about it, and with no sense left in me, I lashed out at her. But that was pointless. The truth was, she raised me and loved me like no other person. I was her son, and the woman I cried for was a stranger. Today, when I came back home, we talked about this whole ordeal with a calm mind. I learned that the woman had been seeing this man for the last 9 years and had hidden my existence from the family. Raymie found out about this years ago, but when she tried to talk things through, Luna threatened her with false charges if she interfered in her life. I was infuriated, but there was something for me to gain. Finally, I understood why Raymie kept this mess a secret from me. After the conversation, I assured her I would no longer try to reach out to that woman. However, there was a part of me that wished for karma to get back to her. A day later, "Honey, I was thinking of going to a small wedding. What do you think?" It's okay, but I still want to throw a big party." "Daniel hates parties." "I'll convince him. Don't worry, he is a good boy." Also, we need to send him to school now that we have shifted here. I was thinking of XXYYZZ Middle School. The campus is vast with different curriculums. And that school is the best in Washington, D.C. Interestingly enough, remember the boy we saw in the mall the other day? His name is Jake Milton, and he recently got a scholarship to study in Oxford next year from the same high school. I think it would be the best for our Daniel, too. I heard they also teach fencing there. He is quite interested in that sport. Wow, that's a surprise. But let's have a proper conversation once you get home, okay? Yeah, right. And what about your parents? Will they be attending our wedding? Yeah, they are. They finally forgave me. Oh man, finally. Finally. I'm getting everything back in my life. I feel so blessed right now. You have done great, honey. Ever since you walked into my life, everything has been great for me too. I can say the same for you. Daniel is so lucky to have you as his mother. Thank you for being so patient with me. Damn, I made you wait for 9 years. I should have known you were a keeper when I first saw you walk into the office. Don't apologize, idiot. I knew what it was like to lose a child. I'm glad I got to be his mother. I love you, Luna. I love you too. And I can't wait to marry you. Same. By the way, do you by chance know that boy? What boy? Jake Milton. I saw you talking to him at the mall the other day. It seemed like he knew you. Honey, I told you already, you're just looking too much into it. I don't even remember, honestly. He was asking for directions, maybe. How could I know him? He is a stranger. Right. Never mind. Then I'll stop talking about it now. See you soon. Yeah, see ya. A few hours later. Tell that boy to stay away from my life, Raymie. I have moved on. Luna? Goodness, you're saying this as if the boy was the one who wronged you and not the other way. Don't worry, you are dead to him now. When is he leaving for Oxford? How do you know about that? I do, but tell him to leave as soon as possible. We just moved to Seattle with my family. I don't want him pestering me. Damn, Luna, what a joke you are. Stop being so entitled and fuck off. You don't owe him anything. That boy is alive because I brought him into this world. He owes me his fucking life. You make me sick, Luna, and I feel sorry for the people who are now your so-called family. They don't know your true self, and it makes me pity them. Fuck you. How dare you talk to me like this? If I want, I can still sue you for manipulating my son and getting his custody from me. Don't call him your son, please. You were never his mother to begin with. I don't want to stretch out the conversation any further. Stay away from Jake. And if you dare do a thing to him, I swear, this time I'll honestly make your life hell. Don't test my patience. When Raymie told me about their little chat, I couldn't help but laugh at how ridiculous the woman was. She may have given birth to me, but now even the child in me was indifferent toward her. I then told Raymie that she no longer needed to worry about that woman, and that the only mother I have in this world is her. Weeks went by, and our lives went back to normal. In 2 months, I'm supposed to leave for Oxford, so I decided to put all my focus on my studies rather than working. But on the last day of my shift, I was met with a surprise. The man I saw that day with that woman visited the convenience store to buy something, but for some reason, he recognized me. He introduced himself as Clark Jenkins, and I was a little taken aback when he asked me to get a cup of coffee with him. But then I got to know one of his acquaintances was a board member of our school. He knew me as the guy who recently received a scholarship and was asking me about the facilities provided at our campus for his son. After thinking, I decided to join him for some coffee. I saw you with my fiance the other day at the mall, he said with a smile, once we were done talking about the school. I thought you guys knew each other for a second. She's your fiance? I asked. Yeah, her name is Luna. We're getting married next week. Oh, congratulations. My son is very fond of her. I became a father when I was 18, but his mother left him with me. I raised my son for the first 6 years all alone, but ever since I met her, everything became better. Maybe it was because of my friendly demeanor, but the man did not hesitate to share some personal things with me. I showed interest in his life, and then, like a lovesick puppy, he talked about his family and soon-to-be lovely wife. He even spoke to me about teenage pregnancy and how his fiance also lost her baby during childbirth at the age of 16. And while whatever he said about his love story might have sounded cute to others, I found his truth full of lies. As the one-sided conversation continued, those brewing emotions started to reflect on my face. Noticing that, the man apologetically smiled and said, "I'm sorry. I shouldn't have wasted your time like this." "It's fine," I replied politely as we finished our coffee. "I think I should go now." "Sure. It was nice talking to you. I wish you the best for your future." "Likewise, and thank you for the coffee." Once we were out of the cafe, he thanked me. But before parting, I ended up blurting out one thing. "The baby your fiancé had back then, he is not dead." Stopping in his tracks, the man turned to me with a skeptical look. "Pardon?" "She abandoned her 5-year-old son with a friend of hers, Raymie Milton." The man stood shocked, not uttering another word, while I only continued. "Luna Flores. Her parents were immigrants from Mexico who disowned her once they found out her 16-year-old was pregnant," I said once I scrolled down my phone and showed him the only picture I had with that woman. 8th March 2004, the day she gave birth to me in North Carolina. You don't need to believe my story, sir, but whatever she had told you about herself is a lie." The man kept staring at the picture before his baffling gaze looked back at me. "You are lying." "I told you you don't need to believe me, Mr. Jenkins. Just think of it as a random teenager spouting some bullshit," I remarked in an unfazed tone. "Well then, goodbye." I never saw him again or received any calls after that. Luna never contacted us either. After coming back home, I told her everything about today. At first, she was shocked, but then she pulled me into a tight hug. "I'm so proud of you, Jake." And just like that, 2 months passed, and my day to leave for Oxford finally came. That was when Raymie told me she'd be shifting to London in a month for her job. I was ecstatic to hear that. We moved on with our lives. But a year later, Raymie received a call from Mr. Jenkins. It was a brief call where he told her about our little meeting and how after discovering the whole truth, he broke off his relationship with Luna. But he never told her that he had met me. Maybe that's why she never contacted us. She was still living a decent life in Seattle, but I didn't want to learn anything further about her. A part of me felt terrible for telling Mr. Jenkins the truth, but the other, selfish part was glad that I exposed her ugly, entitled side. Now I don't think about her anymore. My life is going great, and I plan to achieve something even more prominent. And while she may always despise my existence, I am grateful she brought me into this world.